AI will do like 3 dry runs. AI is going to do my speech for me and this interview.
Good morning. It's so nice to be with you. When I'm away from home, I want to know that I'm doing something meaningful. And that's where we are here, all the way from home, investing in something meaningful.
One of the reasons I came here is so that we could improve the ways that we use Cority.
To us, this is about just making you better at your jobs and advancing what you do.
But no matter how you got here, for nearly all of us, at some point, this stopped being just a job and it became a responsibility you chose to carry. And that matters.
I really wanted to be a leader in nursing. And it really helps to have leaders that are invested in being the catalyst to make processes easier.
Passionate about safety. I want to see people go home in the same condition that they were in.
I love technology. We've actually been with Cority for 10 years already. We've seen it grow.
For a long time, software, let's face it, has been looking back. AI creates an opportunity to do something different.
And really over the next 2 to 3 days, there's so many demos, so many sessions, you'll see everything that's going on. And what we're really trying to do is interweave our various solutions, our capabilities, and it's really us trying to improve and get better down into the future.
Lots of experience, lots of different organizations that can have great ideas. Conferences like this where we can share best practices. It's worth the trudge up the hill.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cority Connect After Show.
It felt like an industry moment, right? We went from scrappy startup back then to like industry moment. It's like, I think all of us feel passionate that we can continue to grow this event and this community and use it to guide our path forward in the industry. I think what stuck out to me, I mean, you've been here for 20 years, which is crazy. I have been here for about a year and I joined right before Cority Connect. And just how much that conversation has changed in a year is remarkable. I remember sitting and watching, there was a panel and one of the panelists was talking about the potential of AI. And he made a sort of a broad comment that, you know, AI has the power to get more insights out of the data than any amount of people can, right? But it was still this very vague thing. And this time I had the privilege to sit into an executive session where we invited some folks in. And they came in with a list of use cases that they wanted to apply, right? And on the other side, what we're going to talk about today, a list of barriers that are in the way of them getting through this. There's just, the moment is big. And I think what's so cool about the moment is this isn't just an AI technology story, right? This is an impact story. And I think we're going to share some customer stories today. What were some of the stories that stuck out to you about the importance of this work and why this moment matters?
What was really important to me was just hearing from customers and hearing where everyone was in their AI journey. Everyone was in different places. And for anyone on the call today who was able to join at Cority Connect, the Connect Lounge where we were demoing Cortex AI was the busiest place at the conference. People wanted to jump in, they wanted to see, they wanted to feel, they wanted to experience it. And I think that that's the difference, kind of like what you saw just from a year ago, where it was very theoretical. Now we're putting it in the hands of our customers.
Yeah, it was real, right? Like we're seeing AI agents in action doing things in workflows where it's not conceptual anymore. That was cool. I think what I loved is we tried to make the customer the hero, right? And there was this, if you were there's this wall of fame of like you know, customers. And then we had some of the stories you'll see today of just the impact they're making. And I loved one, we're not showing today, but from Christus Health, where these two women were talking about how they're applying technology to prevent workplace violence, right? So it takes this, it's not just, you know, a data point on risk in a report. It is making sure a nurse isn't impacted and their career and their life isn't impacted by workplace violence. And that just like brings it home of why this moment matters so much.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when we talk about risk, it can dehumanize the people behind it. But it's every injury, every fatality, that's a person, that's a loved one that's not able to get home to their family at the end of the day. And that it really we really felt it at the conference this year.
All right, well, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, let's talk about who the heck we are.
All right.
Dr. J.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tanya Jenke. I am the Senior Director for Product Enablement at Cority. As Eric mentioned, I've been at Cority for 20 years now, which is a long time, working with our customers in various different capacities throughout their customer journey. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, you just, and Tanya, you see today, she's here because she's just got the depth in the industry, and I'm grateful to work with you. I'm Eric Olson. I'm our Chief Marketing Officer. Why am I here today? Because one of the best parts of my job is I get to go look out into the market, right? I spend a lot of time out there listening to customers and doing some research, which you're going to hear about today, to really understand where the market is, what are the trends that are impacting each and every one of you right now, and help you to understand what the path is forward and what, like, particularly some of the leaders, as we'll talk about today, are doing differently, and how you can just follow that playbook forward. So to do that, we can't show everything today, right?
We'd love to, but we'd be here for days.
Yeah, we got hours and hours of content, Cority Connect, and we'll drip that out. But there's really three big things that we want to hit for every single one of you today. So we're going to start with our CEO, Ryan McGee. And one of the things I really love about Ryan is he is a straight shooter. he will give it to you straight. And so we want to set up with him because he's going to make his commitments to you and tell you give you an honest account, kind of where we are as Cority on delivering on our promises to you, and give you his commitment of what he's going to deliver for going forward.
Yeah, and Ryan's perspective is really interesting because he spends so much time with industry leaders and our customer executives, so he has a really good perspective on what the bigger picture is telling us and why it matters. So really keen to hear from him.
Yeah, another thing I appreciate about Ryan, he is with customers all day, every day. The second thing, and I'm really excited, I did deliver this on stage, but we're going to do it as a live conversation here. We published, it's available right now today, the EHS Plus Technology Report. We're going to see this as an annual report where we went out and did a benchmark of 2,000 folks, people that are EHS leaders, occupational health leaders all over the world, every industry, geography, to get a sense of where this industry is right now. Not just on AI, that's obviously a theme that we're going to talk about, but technology, process, leadership, all the things around it, and where we are and what the path is forward.
That's amazing. I'm really excited to hear from that. There's so many insights coming out of that, and we're giving some measurable examples about how people can move forward with us.
Yeah, we really felt like in this moment we wanted to give people a bit of a guidebook to figure out where to go next. And so I'm excited to share that. Yeah. And then I know what every single one of you is thinking. It's like, what am I going to get in the product? Right? What are you doing to make my life and the life of my users better every day? And I promise you, we're going to get into that. Right, Tanya?
Absolutely. We're going to hear from Dan and Ted, and they're going to talk about all the innovations and all the investments that we're doing in the product and how it's going to make a real impact in our customers' lives.
That's right. And I love what you're going to hear too is, don't worry if you're sitting out there being like, is this just going to be a big AI pitch? It is not, right?
No, it's not. We're not here to recap. We're here just to give you the key moments of curated content that matter the most to you. What really made the largest impact and is the most relevant to our customers today. So if you did miss it, don't worry. We'll catch you up today. You'll be part of the conversations.
That's right. That's right. So let's get into it. We're gonna start off with Ryan. We're gonna talk about the report, and then Ted and Dan are gonna talk to us about not only AI, but they're gonna talk about how they're making the platform work better every single day for you guys. And they're going to talk about the innovations across our EHS solution. So all three of those areas and products. So I'm excited to get to that. Spoiler alert on the AI right now, though. Like, again, we talked about it being sort of vague last year. Right now, and I know this, Tanya, is something you and I talked about and are excited about, it's live, right? Yeah. We've got AI embedded in 30 plus workflows available now on the platform with one control center. It's super unique, and it's not something that's coming next month or next year. It's available now. So excited for you to see it. But let's start with Ryan. Let's hear Ryan's take on the industry and his commitment to you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 25th Cority Connect event. It's great to see a very full house. I was just told backstage that it's a record attendance, which is no small feat given travel budgets what they are these days, so appreciate you all making the effort. I think I'll just quickly kick off by welcoming some new faces to the community this year. So we've got AT&T, Mayo Clinic, Eldorado Gold, Westinghouse, OpenAI, and US EPA. Thanks for putting your trust on us and coming out. Also, a few customers who expanded with Cority this year as well: American Electric Power, BMW, Smithfield, Chevron. We appreciate your continued trust. 25 was a big year for Cority. On top of everything else we did, it was actually a year of record sales, which is, just great and something I'm proud of, but it's particularly meaningful given we did it in a year where most of our competition was either flat or actually declining in growth, which was just a sign to me of how much the consolidation that we had been anticipating had really started to happen. Taking a step back and looking at why this year all of a sudden we saw that accelerate so much, I think it really comes down fundamentally to two things. People are now appreciating more than ever that risk is not something that cannot be managed in a silo, but has to be looked at holistically across people, products, and assets, and you need a system of record like Cority to do that. Secondly, a new technology emerged and changed the way we thought about almost everything, frankly. AI is here, and it's changing a lot of things in the world. And taking a step back, look, I appreciate there's a lot of buzz and talk and noise in the market about AI these days. It's either a bubble and hype, or it's an existential threat. But the reality is, I think it's just it's a new tool and technology that's changing the way you can use your jobs. When we think about what AI can mean, I think about a couple things. I think about things like our medical scribe agent, which one of our customers is anticipating will allow them to see 3,000 more patients a month. I think about our permit analyzer, which another customer is looking at and thinks that they can save 15,000 admin days a year. So to us, this is about just making you better at your jobs and advancing what you do. And for that reason, we felt like despite so many other competing priorities, it was not an innovation that could wait. And I say competing priorities because it is not lost on me that we have a long list of things to do. I got up here last year and I said to everybody, after all the migrations and integrations, that yes, that we had some problems in the platform, there was some heartburn around quality and performance, and I committed to getting that fixed. And a lot of work went into that in 25, and we made a lot of progress. Probably not as much as I wanted, and I recognize that. And I acknowledge that only to say that please do not get confused. With all the things we're going to talk about and all the investment and the new things, we have not lost focus on that priority, and it continues to be one of the fundamental things we're focused on. And taking a step back, and I guess if I could leave you really all with one main point, is that for all the things that you're going to hear over the next few days and all the innovation that we're doing, our focus has not changed. We have one principal focus, and that is we are here to be the best EHS platform and partner in the world. And we will do that by continuing to focus on quality. We will continue to focus on the existing functionality. Think the health product, we're refreshing the clinical experience for you, or something transformational like Cortex AI. All of it is just to make you better at your jobs. And this is incredibly important to me because I appreciate how important the work that you all do is. And that's why we're all here committed. Cority will always be improving to keep you always ahead.
2016, we had a horrible wildfire that swept through the panhandle of Oklahoma. Millions of acres were burned. We lost a farm to that fire. And we got to stand in the room with those employees. I can remember every one of them and their faces. All of our employees live there. They're part of the community. They're part of the churches, but they're also the volunteer firemen. There is a way for us to come together and pull people together. In that, I realized how much the safety person can pull people together and really have a clear head, but care for the people. One of my superpowers early on was really focusing on learning what the employees did. So when people have injuries today or they talk about processes or SOPs, I know exactly what it is because I've done the job or been intimately involved with the people that do that. We want to be able to go out and help the employees, talk to them face to face, make improvements in the environmental health and safety of their location, but then have them return home safely. I love people. I want to make their lives better. That's my goal wherever I go.
That video gives me chills every single time I see it. The heart and dedication of Bryn and her team at Smithfield that they put into making sure that employees get home every day, whether it's fires or injuries, is just so inspiring.
Yeah, I was crying like an idiot backstage, listening to that at the event. I had to pull it together to come on. Yeah, it was great. I mean, and it's a reminder too, like we talked about in the first segment, of just the moment, the moment we're in and why it matters in this work, because this work is so important. And we're going to talk here about the study we have and what it told us. But before we do, I wish we could have shown everything, because Amanda has this great segment about the meaning of the work and why we got into it. And Amanda says so many great things. But one thing that has stuck with me that she said is that the people get into this work, they're usually not doing it by accident.
Yeah.
Right? They're usually doing it for a reason. And a lot of times that reason has a name. Like, why did you get into this?
Curiosity, mostly. I mean, I just had such a passion to understand, why are people getting injured at work? Why are people dying at work when there's all these systems in place to protect them? And it was that passion that took me through, Eric, 6 years of a PhD, that just, it motivates me every day just to understand, why is this happening? And my research has been grounded in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you know, for me, it was hyper personal. My daughter, 5-year-old daughter Sydney, was killed by a commercial vehicle crossing a road just a block from my house in an intersection on her scooter with her whole family with her. And in that moment, it changed me, obviously, and pretty quickly I knew I wanted to be involved with this work. And you bring up curiosity and like why these things exist in the systems. I think the thing I learned so fast is that it's not a technology problem. The technologies exist that can prevent these things, that can make sure companies are ahead of risk, but most haven't found a path to apply them.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes this work so important, but it's also what makes this moment so important. And so that's why we made a big investment this year. We wanted to really understand it on a deeper level of where companies are. And then we wanted to look up the mountain.
Yep.
We wanted to look at the companies that are further ahead on the climb and get a picture of what is it that they're doing differently. And so we went out, as I said at the beginning, we talked to 2,000 folks around the world.
Yep.
We put all that data together and we looked at a snapshot of the industry and we looked at what the outperformers were doing different. But we didn't just look at AI, right? There's some other studies out there on AI maturity, but we want to make sure we saw the big picture. We want to look at dimensions like process and data and leadership and culture and the technology as next to AI and what they're doing. And it showed for me that this is an industry at an obvious inflection point.
Yeah.
Right? And the opportunity is to move from looking in the rearview window, as we've been doing for a long time and reacting and getting stuff done, spending way too much time on admin work, to really not just looking forward and out the front window, but like looking over the horizon, right, and being able to predict. And so I want to I think we're going to talk here about some of the biggest insights that came out of it. The first one, though, that directly aligns to that is that really when they talked about the big payoff of AI, when we asked people what the big payoff of being able to use it would be, it came down to real-time decision making, right? So 91% of people, according to the report, are deploying AI against some kind of real-time risk prevention area. And that's things like shift communication, the PPE availability for a job. It's the things that the real-time decisions that are happening in the organization that the old way of doing things didn't apply to. So maybe give me an example of what that is and why AI is seen as such an important inflection point in that work.
For sure. So let's imagine a supervisor who's mid-shift. Production has accelerated due to demand. A specific tool isn't available due to maintenance, so another one is substituted in. And the supervisor is coming off a long shift. They may be tired. Who is not tired these days? And in this case, a real-time AI assist could flag those combination of factors. It could flag the combination of production output, substitution, extended hours, and prompt a really quick intervention. It would use the data that we as EHS professionals have been collecting for decades on historical past incidents to actively interrupt the risk. And that's really powerful.
I love that idea of interrupting the risk of getting to it before it happens. That's such a big challenge. I know it's been a challenge to get engagement on the front lines, but if you are sort of making them safer in the moment, I think that's such an important way that we can get in there. It's as I reflect on it, I had a thought that the real opportunity is not in our reports.
Yes.
It's not in the piece of data. it's actually in the next 10 minutes, right? It's that decision that someone's going to make before they go into a dangerous situation, the decision someone's going to make about the right thing to do that could lead to an environmental compliance gap, right? It's that one, those decisions where the difference is. But let's get to insight number 2, because if we're gonna do that, we got to experiment with AI, but we probably got to do it in a way that we can scale it, and that's a challenge, right? I think one of the things that surprised me was how much in a risk-adverse industry people are using AI off books, what we call kind of shadow AI, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the stat was 95% of people are using shadow AI in their daily lives.
When I know I do it, and in day-to-day work, and I do it in situations like in marketing to generate a report or something, but the implications in EHS are so much greater. So it really surprised me. And the other side of that, though, it just shows the appetite, right? We heard that loud and clear at Cority Connect. There's pressure and there's appetite for the reasons we just talked about. On the other side of that, only 5% of organizations right now have it embedded in their workflow. So really like embedded in the day-to-day work and decisions. So it shows the chasm between kind of interest and adoption. And here's where the tension was. When we asked people what needed to be true, right? The real priorities of what had to be true for AI to get adopted at scale. Security and governance number 1, right? So using it off book, but security and governance number 1. Explainability, oversight, and then the vendor expertise. Vendors like Cority underneath that they can trust to understand the context of what they do. So we've just got this like inflection point here where it's the interest in experimentation is high, but the actual like ability to scale it and ability to trust it in their operations is really, really low.
Yeah. And I think, people are jumping into AI, and this is where we're seeing the rise in that shadow AI, but there's not necessarily a lot of strategy or plan around it. Whether the leadership teams are engaged, that's going to have an impact as well. And I think once people they start with the basics, they can understand and they can build that trust over time.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do.
And that is, we are solving, fundamentally, if we take nothing else around this, like we're solving a trust problem, right?
Yes.
And I think that's going to require a different way of operating underneath. Another stat to that end is that, AI is influencing, if you believe it, 94% of tech decisions now. Decisions on tech, 94% of the time are being influenced by AI. For 2/3 of the people that responded, what they said is that means they are increasing their appetite towards consolidation and integration of platforms. So it's we've grown up in this kind of fragmented world. I think there's this general recognition out there that that's not going to work anymore, and I'm going to need to start to pull these things together. Not only because I got to get the data together and stuff like that, but really to be able to govern it, right?
Yes.
Like one place to govern it, control it, make sure it's safe and trusted out in the operations.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about insight number 3 because it talks about how AI is used. We're talking about trust. We're talking about what AI can be trusted for in EHS. When you look at some other industries, and I see this in marketing all the time, I right now have AI agents that look at my data every week, generate a report, and email it out. Fully autonomous AI agents that are doing a task for me. The trust level of that in EHS is really low. As you might, it might not surprise you. It's 15% of people trust fully autonomous AI agentic AI. 77% of people want humans in command, not just human in the loop, which is a conversation out there, but human in command. And so talk to me about why that is, Tanya.
I think in the EHS profession, the understanding that we have a judgment based on our years of expertise as to what's happening. So if we go back to the example we talked about before, the schedule change, the substitution, the handoff, this is not unusual in EHS. This happens all the time in various different organizations. The interesting part is that we've been actually capturing all the signals on this for years, through incidents, through near misses, through audits. The issue was never that we didn't know, but it was that we couldn't use the information in the moment. And I think if we think about incidences that occurred in organizations, many of them knew about them before that they happened. And this is what AI will change for them, right? It will connect the patterns that are happening right now. And we're looking to strengthen those judgments from the EHS professionals. That's what AI can do. It can work with you.
That's right. I think that was the insight for me. If I had to sum up this insight, I would say that AI won't replace people in EHS, but it will make all of you superhuman.
Absolutely.
And I think that's such a cool thing to be in. And in so many industries where it's like the talk is job replacement, I think in this industry, it's job enhancement.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you look back, the trend for 40 years in EHS has been that subject matter expertise is key. right? No matter if that's your vendors or that's the people that run it. And what this report says loud and clear is that actually gets magnified in the age of AI, right? That expertise becomes more important, and the potential is to spread it around more. And again, like when we know that's true because in the report when we ask them what they're prioritizing, it is things like vendor expertise, expert oversight. It is very clear to this industry that they see the opportunity to become superhumans, and I love that insight.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We want to use AI to support those moments that matter. It's not to replace the professional judgment, but really to strengthen it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the outperformers. So one thing that we really wanted to understand is for those that are further up, what are they doing different, right? And so what we did is we divided all the respondents, 2,000 responses, into 3 segments, right? The low, medium, high. And we looked at the high and we said, what are the statistically very different areas as far as how they're approaching things? And in some industries, that might have come out as, the most tech forward, the most innovative, the most risk taking. That is not what this showed, right?
Surprising. Yeah, really cool. That's it. The data says that the organizations that are winning with AI are not the ones that are leading with it. They're not doing anything secret. They're not doing anything glamorous. They're doing the fundamentals really well. They're cleaning up their data. They're standardizing processes. They're making sure that risk is clearly understood and communicated. It's not secret. It's not hidden. It's not some kind of, it's no complexity around it. And I think if you look at something like the ISO 31000 guideline, it's been outlining what good risk management looks like for over a decade. It's the gold standard across industries and geographies. And at its core, it's really simple. It emphasizes integrating risk into decision making, and that's where AI is really powerful. The organizations that we're outperforming today, they're not doing something new. There's no Wizard of Oz behind a curtain somewhere. They're curious, they're asking good questions, and they're actually applying those fundamentals in a really practical way.
Yeah, let's talk about what they're doing. But before I say that, I do want to say, they are actually further ahead on AI is what it shows, right? They were 2.x more likely to have AI embedded in it. So they are also further ahead on AI. But when we look at what the things they're doing different, you talk about fundamentals, right? It's not about having the shiniest model. It's about having strong fundamentals. And so a few stats that stuck out to me. They were 3 times more likely to be working on a modern platform, actually 17 times more likely to be working on an integrated platform with analytics kind of at its core. Wow. That's a technology story. The other side of it, though, and the data side, and what we expected to see, we saw. They were more likely to have kind of consolidated data. But that wasn't the real story there. You brought up just how they use data. What we saw is that they're building data-driven operations day to day, right? And so they were far more likely to have 60% of them use EHS data in day-to-day work. Right, and so they were far more likely, I think that's, I can do my math here, 3 or 4 times more likely, to really just have a data-driven operational culture, right? Wow. And so they're really committed to the core. And then leadership. Yes. I think EHS professionals have struggled to engage leadership. What we saw here was loud and clear that they have partnered with leadership to set AI strategy and governance top down. Yes. Right. So they have got leadership to the table when we're making the key decisions on how AI is going to be used, not after the fact. That's exactly right. And so those to me that tells a fundamental story. As you know, I do endurance sports, triathlon, running and stuff like that. And one of the things I learned early on is it's not about the end day race performance. It's about the everyday work and just doing the reps. And that's kind of what this story shows. It shows that it is about doing the fundamentals well. And ultimately, if you go through everything we just talked about, I think the thread is this is not necessarily a technology problem. It's a change management problem. Yeah. Right. And so that's the we're seeing the folks do best.
That's amazing. Should we hear from our product and technology team?
We should, yeah. So I'm excited to hear from Ted and Dan. So I hope what you're going to hear here is that everything we just talked about, we are working and investing to make sure the platform does that. So that mix of strong fundamentals and doing AI the right way on top of it. So with that, let's hear from Ted and Dan.
This is my first Cority Connect, and I just got to say the energy is awesome. And this company is awesome. What you are doing in EHS, professional circles is incredible. I personally love hearing the stories about how our software is being used. And one of the reasons I came to Cority is because I really connected and believed in the vision of what we've done. And we've got a great history. So rewind all the way back to 1985. We started out with our first user, entering into the EHS realm. And over the course of time, we've grown that to 4 million active users, which is incredible worldwide. And along the way, we've made some remarkable progress with pioneering SaaS, with adding our Cority One platform. And then today, we're marking a new chapter, introducing embedded intelligence with Cortex AI. It's super exciting. And I think as a technologist, we're witnessing probably the greatest unfolding of technical innovation of our time. It's phenomenal. And I personally believe as a technologist that AI in the right hands can do immense good and leave a lasting impact. And it's really, really cool. Okay, so we've heard the platform word tossed out multiple times today. And it's a very overloaded term. But just as a thought experiment, what makes a great platform? Well, first and foremost, it is a mechanism for helping you achieve your business outcomes. So how many here took Lyft or Uber to the hotel? Probably a lot, right? I mean, it's not a good look if the service is unavailable when you need a ride, right? So we match a rider with a driver, mission accomplished, outcome is achieved. And so at Cority, our philosophy is really threefold in terms of what we're delivering for a platform. First, it should be secure by design. So, we had a great conversation with Javier yesterday on security and the importance in today's day and age of maintaining a good security posture, right? You don't want to have to think twice about what the software is doing, how the agents are operating on your data, and the expectations of the software. It should be auditable and transparent so that you can take a look about what's going on. Did we really do the things that we said we did? Can I get a report? And so on. And then it needs to be a heartbeat and a rhythm in your organization. Just as a doctor reaches for his scalpel or whatever the tools, the trade, it needs to be efficient and perfect for the job when you need it. That's what we're expecting of our platform. And it's really what we're building.
And along those lines, one of the key areas of investment and focus over the past really 18 months is our UI UX, so the usability of the platform, to try to make a more seamless, cohesive application for all of you. So if you have multiple solutions, you feel and there's continuity between the various solutions that you all have. And it's a shame, I feel like I can't see anything right now on this big screen, and it looks really cool. And this is something that if you go to the demos behind you in other sessions, you'll start to see this evolve, and this is based, once again, upon your feedback about the new look and feel and the navigation of Cority One. And this is something that we'll be rolling out throughout 2026. So this is something we want to announce to everyone here. Last year, we called out some of this as a focus and investment, and we're going to be rolling it out to all of you throughout this year. So you have an opportunity to get some demos and see it in the back over the next 2 days. Another common question I get is GX2 Cority One? Now, if you don't know what GX2 is here, that's perfectly fine, but that's a common question, okay? And GX2 is a component of Cority One, but there's many components of Cority One that make our overall product portfolio. And as we unify the experience, like I just mentioned 2 slides ago, and the navigation, the look and the feel, and the continuity in the workflows, and as we embed more capabilities throughout our solutions. And the one great thing about working with Dan and the platform and how we're building things is we're building it for one use case, but doing it in an adaptable way so it can work somewhere else as well. So as we embed more capabilities, we need to provide greater and better context for all of you and all of our users as to where you are in the solution. Therefore, one step in that direction, just one step of many, is updating our nomenclature around some of our engines. One is GX2. We also have EMS WAB and EMS. Those were the old names. You can see in the middle the full new name, and then over to the right where we have core, workflows, and calcs. We wanted to announce this today, but more information will come in the weeks and months ahead, okay? There's nothing anyone here needs to do, but as we're unifying the experience, unifying the platform, in various ways. We're trying to provide greater context. One step in that is the nomenclature around our engines and the components really that make up Cority 1. So we wanted to announce this for everyone here today.
So I think it's awesome that Ted and his team are focused on user experience and UI, and just the intuitive nature of interfaces is really important for the work that you do. And features are obviously very important. That's what you're in day out on the platform. But I want to talk to you about something else that's a prerequisite to delivering AI workloads and the fast pace of innovation, and that is the way that we release software. That is also part of the product. It's part of the design. And so the big bang releases that we used to do in years past are not going to fit the bill anymore for this rapid pace of innovation. So what do I mean? So we need a mechanism to deliver software to you on a continuous basis. So our mantra with our platform in EHS now is release and deploy early and often. This doesn't mean that we're smacking you in the face with a bunch of new features all the time. What it means is that we have the capability to turn on features slowly, like a dimmer switch, raise them up, look at 5% in our customer ecosystem, 10%, ramp it up slowly and see how it's doing. If there's a problem, we can roll it back. So again, coming to the whole stability aspect of the platform, which is deeply important to us, it needs to be available all the time. And we need to be able to inject these changes and features and tests and so on into that ongoing environment. So it's an exciting new time. So coming back to capabilities now and design in general, wherever you have friction in a process, a wonky thing that you're doing with your job, that's an opportunity. That friction is an opportunity for our team to look at improving the process, improving the interface, improving how you interact, and even with now prompt engineering with AI, how to just get one step closer to the problem and a more elegant solution. So we've thought really long and hard about these different experiences, whether it's clinic experience or on a mobile or managing your risk, and just taking that design approach into those design discussions.
And what was just listed there is just a handful of the roadmap items across the entire product portfolio. So you'll see more in the various breakout sessions where you'll have individual work roadmaps for each of those. But Dan and I, we're just highlighting a few items. This is one we're really excited over. It's a new clinical visit experience. And you can see some of the designs, once again, our design system holding true here. And this is, once again, based upon a lot of our feedback on the health space, that we need more data. You'll hear things like split screens, timelines, and flyout windows. Just basically, how do we have as much data on the page that's relevant for that point in time of the overall workflow? So we're really excited over the clinical experience and improving the usability and the look and the design around that. Next area is another key theme around risk. We get a lot of feedback that we need more risk capabilities that are more robust, interlinked with various items in the overall Cority platform. And here, there's a risk register control library capabilities we've designed and we're looking to build out later this year. And then also bringing some of the risk capabilities to MyCority. That's something that we've been working with a few enterprise customers on. That's actually further in development and will be released in the spring. So risk is another area of investment from an R&D perspective in 2026. Then another area is on the billing and invoicing. And this is more in the healthcare space, but this is basically to the ability to have more robust billing invoicing capabilities, linking it with the clinical experience. This is something we've been partnering with a few companies, customers rather, over the past 18 months on this and looking to roll out in the summer. And this is something we're really excited for within healthcare.
Yeah, and tagging on to the billing, I think we all have been there scheduling appointments with multiple providers, going through all the motions that it can be quite a mess. So we're really excited about some of our unified scheduling that's going to make that whole process more intuitive, easier to manage care across multiple providers, and then just again coming back to that UX of the experience throughout the platform. So we're really excited to announce that as well.
I love seeing that platform section and how it pays off Ryan's commitment of just making sure the fundamentals work, right, Tanya? What stuck out to you in that?
I love how Dan describes this as the largest technical unfolding of our time. It just feels like such a powerful moment to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it is, we talked earlier about if this is going to work, this next phase here, it's got to be embedded in day-to-day work, right? And we know for a long time as an industry, we've struggled with like an adoption problem. And so the work this team has done over the last few years around making sure the UI, UX across Cority One is consistent is so important. I just don't want that to get lost on people on how hard that is and how important it is to have that consistent experience across your teams to solve adoption problems.
Yeah, we hear about it from customers all the time. They want things to be easier and quicker, and so this investment in UI and UX is really there. The other thing that Dan talked about is he talked about release and deploy early and often. So getting those features in the hands of our customers as soon as we can.
That's right. That's right. And it's like, Ryan talked about quality, right? The quality of the product. And again, that's the stuff that doesn't get seen. It's the behind the scenes nerd work, right? And so it is like, as a customer, it's almost hard to appreciate like how much work goes into that. And so I'm just like grateful that we're committed to that as well. So with that, I want to go on and have and finish the product section of this here, right? So we're going to have Dan and Ted are going to talk about two more things. We're going to talk about EHS innovation. So we talked about the foundation, talk about the EHS plus innovation we're doing on top of it, and then we're going to get to Cortex AI. Excited for you all to see it. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about capabilities, and with Cortex, we now have in your hands these new agents. And we're really excited about this first wave. And so whether it's Medical Scribe or the Permit Analyzer, some of the things that we've highlighted throughout the day so far, encourage you to go check out the booths, talk to us, talk to me and Ted. But we're really excited about how we built these. They're purpose-built. They're not generic. We have chosen the right AI technology for the task. And just a note on that, it's like you can use a generic model for a generic task and you get a generic outcome. And we're going for a much more opinionated approach in how we handle these problems. So we're feeling good about it. Of course, we'd love the validation, and we'd love to hear from you on what you think.
And hopefully some of you were able to join the Converge event that was back in December. You heard Dan and I talk through some of the content you'll see today. A few key points here is when it comes to Cortex AI, it's embedded in the workflows in the application. It's not separated in any way. And then two, we also have a control center that you'll be able to see a demo in the booth behind you hopefully later today. And that's really to manage, orchestrate, and audit data within Cortex AI, thinking that trust and the transparency element's vital, and having that reporting capability is needed for all of you and our customers.
Yep. And just to tag along, so again, on how we've designed and built this stuff, we are model agnostic, so we've partnered with Google. I know we've got OpenAI here. There's lots of great models, and we can plug into those different models. And then the other thing that's worth mentioning is that we have a double prompt or two prompt, IP approach to all of this. So, in today's era of AI and engineering, the prompt is a really discrete piece of intellectual property. And it takes a lot of effort to go and refine those and to get a good result. And then you, with the customer, can continue to refine with the second stage prompt. So it's an adaptable, flexible model with how we approach AI. Look at this list. We've got a lot more coming. So the first wave is here, and we've got a lot more in the works with our product and engineering teams. And we're really cooking on this and excited. So let's dive into the control center. Like Ted mentioned, this is the hub of where you will go and configure the agents, enable them, do any tweaks you need to, and then also get reports on the usage, how they're operating, any connection points, and so on. And my personal favorite, so I am a son of a doctor who's an anesthesiologist, and also my grandfather was a surgeon. And I remember as a kid going to his practice, and he had a dictaphone and would go in and do all this, and then someone would have to painfully transcribe all of those notes. This is incredible technology. If I said today I need a number 5 laryngeal mask airway, it's going to get it perfect in the context. And it will also get the nuance if I happen to be sharing information about my vacation or personal details. It knows what to filter out and give just the concrete points on the appointment. So it's really awesome.
And then two other agents is the incident voice entry agent. So that's basically you're speaking to an item, and it's transcribing that and basically taking what you're speaking and populating the fields in MyCority or in our solution. And then the next is the incident image analysis. That's where you take a picture of an item, it would scan that item, and then once again populate fields. And when you think one of the themes and core principles around Cortex is, what are some of the repetitive tasks that we can try to hopefully automate or drive efficiency and help everyone here just better enable you all with the tools and capabilities that we have. A big pain point we hear from a lot of our customers is getting data in the system is a challenge. So these are two agents really to try to alleviate some of that pain. This is another one, that similar theme. How do you get data in the system as quickly and as efficiently as possible? This is the sustainability invoice scanning agent. So it would take different invoices, it could be in different languages, whatever it may be, and it would scan those documents and populate the necessary fields in Cority 1. And then the final one we'll talk about today is if you really enjoy reading a 100-page PDF environmental permit, okay? Sorry, there's some people here that love to do that, I'm sure, okay? But we have a permit analyzer that you can take that permit, drag and drop it in, and Cortex will analyze the regulatory items within that permit. You can actually chat with it and get feedback when it comes to that permit. Once again, trying to mitigate the challenges of getting data in and reviewing large PDFs. So thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful Cority Connect 2026.
I believe in protecting the environment. That's number one. That's the role of our company, to protect the environment and the community first. I was born and raised in Arizona. I've been driving that canal. I've been using our reservoir as a kid. We spent a lot of time on the lake. It's just amazing that I was able to come work for a company I've known for years and used. Right, so it's something I never thought of, but I've spent 18 plus years protecting and doing what I can. But we have a big footprint in the state, 365 miles of canal, 15 pumping plants. So it's a lot of power. We have a lot of ground to cover. We had no mission. We had no really organizational movement towards sustainability. So that team was formed. We shifted in 2009 to the ECO team. That team was formed to bring people across all disciplines. If we did not exist, the air rules and the water rules, they'd probably shut the pumps down because there's potential for release back into the Colorado River. I was actually part of the team at the point. Went and checked all the chemical inventory storage locations and removed products that were not approved. And we also changed some things in our coatings. And then they get to reuse the solvent and clean their guns and put painting devices, and then we get to dispose of that. And so those two big changes have really reduced our waste generation. Mindset, a willingness to change. We've able to drop it down to, I think we're at 350 pounds. Very small quantity across the whole district. So 15 pumping plants, 3 office facilities, have very minimal impact when it comes to waste. So I didn't even know that number existed until a month ago. I've seen the chart drop over the years, but once I started digging in and doing the numbers, I was like, wow, we signed up and we hit the highest level possible. It's a big win. As environmental professionals, we just learn over the years to take our wins as a group, celebrate within the group, and then just move on. So we just try and move the needle every year.
Yeah, I hope all of you at home can feel the energy of the event and realize that this is not about Cority, it's about you, right? It is about the work that you do, and our team wakes up every day to support that work. And I hope you just got that from the product session of the work we're doing, the passion that we have for supporting stories like Aaron's. What I love about Aaron's story is that, something that can seem as sort of, almost mechanical as environmental compliance can actually have such a broad impact on communities. And that's what gets me inspired about this work every day. But we covered a lot of ground here, Tanya.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exactly what Cority Connect is about, right? It's about strategy, technology, and real-world examples. And Aaron and Bryn talked to both about that. We can hear directly from them.
Yeah, so we started off, Ryan. Ryan says this a lot, and I love it, that we do things here at Cority the right way, even when it's hard, right? And going back to that initial segment, he's also never happy, right? Like he's, it's always got to be better. And so I think what you heard from him is a real commitment to doing AI the right way, so it really gets adopted. It's not enough for us to be flashy and have it, be a gimmick or something that we can sell. It has to have real measurable impact, and that's why we've made the investment to do it the way that we have. But we've also invested to make sure the platform works for every single one of you better every single day.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the report, right?
Yes, yeah. So if you haven't, read the report. And some of the key things that I took away from that is really just customers just to start anywhere. We learned that they should just start wherever they can, get the basics down, and then move from there. The report already also talked about the importance of vendor trust, and I think that's where customers can really lean on Cority as your trusted advisor as we work through this AI journey together.
Yeah, I love the just start sentiment, right? Like it can seem overwhelming, right? When you think about like moving from how we've worked for decades, right, of kind of looking back to being able to get into what you really talked about of these like real-time decision moments. That's a journey, right?
Yeah.
It means you have to do things differently, and I think you can get stuck in that.
Yeah.
I remember when, after my daughter died, we started a foundation and a nonprofit, and that is something I have no experience with. I've been in this world my whole life, and so I remember I had this moment of doubt, and I was talking to an advisor, and I was like, what do I do here? This just feels so overwhelming. And she said, Eric, you do what you always do. Just start. And I think that's the best advice that I could give any of you, is that this is a journey from wherever you are to wherever you go. To your point, this community, our team, we're here to support you in that journey, but you got to just kind of get going, right? So, Tanya, you talked about, let's talk about community. You talk about this, I mentioned community, like what does this community mean?
Yeah, so I really just want to shout out to our community. This is exactly what makes Cority Connect feel different. It's not just about the sessions, it's about people learning from each other, sharing what's actually important. Being really open and honest about conversations. And these conversations are what push our industry forward. It's not just about what's in the presentation slides, but it's the conversations that happen. And I think we have such a rich and supportive community at Cority.
We really do. And I've been, in all honesty, I've been doing this kind of work in different parts of the industry for years. And putting on these events is really hard. Like in my seat and my team's seat, like it zaps all your energy taking it out. But I left Orlando on a high, right?
So
like
invigorated, right?
I left feeling like this community is doing really important work, and that genuinely, I think our customers are different than in some other communities, because not only the value of the work, but this is a community. We talked about what the pace setters, the folks out ahead, are doing different. This is a community that already believes in that stuff.
Yes.
Cority customers are already further down in that journey because they're on a modern platform. They're doing things a little bit differently, and so you can just feel the energy from it. And I just want to harken back to one thing Ryan said before we closed. He talked about our focus is always improving every day, so you can be always ahead. And always ahead is something you're going to hear from us for a period of time here. It's our rally cry, I think, right? It is what this event was about. It's the theme is making sure that you're always ahead. But it's also a rally cry for our industry and a commitment from us that we will make sure we are doing the work that no matter what happens in the world, that you are always ahead. And so we've heard a lot of great stories today. Thank you first, Tanya, for being here.
Thank you.
And lending your expertise and teaching me all the things I need to know about this unique industry. But I thought we've heard great customer stories, and so I think it's only fitting that we close on another one.
Absolutely.
So thank you all for being here today, for taking an hour out of your day. We'll leave you with one more great story from Parkland Health.
We are a community-based health system, so we're dealing with a very critical and vulnerable population. It's an astounding fact that there are certain zip codes in the Dallas area that they have a 17-year less lifespan than other zip codes in the area. Everything that we do is critical to impact that 17-year. So a day in the life of occupational health is acting fast, acting quickly, and mitigating exposures. You want to contain an infectious disease as quickly as possible to reduce spread to keep your employees healthy. I think one of the most impactful moment that really stands out to me is we had an employee who during routine screening screened positive for tuberculosis. And the employee was scared, they were nervous, They didn't know what risks they could potentially bring to their family. And we walked that employee through every step in the process. We make sure that we followed up with them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly throughout this treatment process. I ran into the employee a few months later, and this employee stopped me and said, "Thank you." I didn't know what to expect during this process, and just taking the time to be compassionate and walk me through this process, it relieved a lot of my anxiety. Thank you for the care. I understand the mission. I understand the why. And that's what drives what we do every day. And so knowing that if we don't return someone in a timely manner, that person could be out that unnecessarily, where they could be providing that direct patient care in our clinics, in our inpatient services. And I think in that moment, it just reinforced to me, it's not just about protocols. It's not just about compliance. It's about compassion.